I recently was funded September 15th, a DoD grant, Quality of Life Research Award, to try to promote mental health and wellness in caregivers of post 9/11 vets that are coming back with traumatic brain injury. My program of research, I was working with family caregivers of persons with Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia, and I wanted to see if problem-solving therapy would prevent depression and burden in these caregivers. So at Pitt, I designed a study to test the effects of problem-solving therapy with spouses of persons that were diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, because they have a 10% annual probability of progressing to a dementing disorder such as Alzheimer's disease. So I thought, here's my group that I can do some preventive behavioral intervention instead of a drug, that I can perhaps equip the caregivers with some coping resources early in their caregiving trajectory. I ended up opening up the study to caregivers of persons newly diagnosed with dementia, any type. And what I found was that problem-solving therapy prevented depression and burden in the MCI caregivers, mild cognitive impairment of a loved one with mild cognitive impairment, and it treated depression and burden in caregivers that were already Alzheimer's or dementia caregivers. So if they were already feeling burden and depressive symptoms, the problem-solving therapy intervention treated those symptoms. A 3-year study, a little over 655,000, a little over that for a 3-year study. This time I'll be delivering the problem-solving therapy intervention through the internet, so we can do face-to-face coaching with the caregivers. Before my research, I've brought it to their homes, and I think that face-to-face coaching is very important, so we don't just put it out there on the internet and expect them to apply problem-solving therapy. We really want to coach them along and teach them. Approximately 9 sessions face-to-face over the internet every other week for 9 sessions, so it could be like a 4-month intervention. We'll collect all the data through the internet too, so I'm hoping to recruit caregivers from across the United States to be part of this study. What we know about living with a person with brain damage like we see in Alzheimer's disease, it's very stressful, and it's the behavioral changes in the care recipient. And they're not always care recipients. They may look fine, so we struggle with that word caregiver, but that's the best word we can use. So I say, are you living with and possibly providing assistance to a veteran with TBI? What happens is they have a lot of symptoms that overlap with post-traumatic stress disorder. They also have a lot of depression. So there's usually a lot of behavioral symptoms in the vet with traumatic brain injury that it's hard for the caregiver or the spouse that's holding the family together to solve all of the problems that are coming up. And they're daily problems, not necessarily caregiving problems.